Okay. So one of the first pieces of advice I ever got was way back in the 90s from my then spiritual teacher and mentor. And he said, "You get paid for who you are." And this is what I actually experienced to be true, because there was this thing where I could just like flip into a completely different state of being, and people just started giving me money. It's like, I've shared this before, like this experience where I was just walking down the street and somebody asked to become my client. I was a massage therapist at that time. And it's like people were just like showing up, like clients were showing up from, like just in droves, because I kind of flipped to a different state of being. And when you flip into a different state of being, you become somebody different, right? Your state of being determines the energy you send out to the world. Your state of being determines how magnetic you are to attract clients. Your state of being determines how well you can receive money. Um, your state of being determines how much confidence you put behind your promotion and marketing. So it's like who you are matters more than what you do. Because there were times when I was doing, and I have experienced that many times over my 3 decades of being a spiritual entrepreneur, is that I can do all the marketing and promotion and I get no results. And the reason I'm not getting results is because I am not the person that is in the right state of I'm not in the right state of being where money just happens because of who I am. And I first experienced this flip into a different state of being back in the 90s. And ever since, my quest has been about, how can I get back to this place at will? So that when I lose it, I can get myself back there, because I would always lose this and I didn't know why I lost it and I didn't know how I got there in the first place. So, of course, today I know it's hi, Alexandra. Hi, Hulda. Um, of course, today I know it's like shadow, not shadow, shadow light, fear, power. That makes a difference, because when you are completely out of shadow, then you are in that state of being where, money just happens. Money just happens. And, I don't know if you saw this post I was making this, earlier today about this money shadow that came up today, that if I have to make more money, if I want to make more money, I have to change who I am. And it was not really about like, one of my other huge money shadow for me was, I can choose between myself and success. So if I wanted to success, I had to abandon myself. And who wants that, right? So I gave up success because I didn't want to abandon myself. And I had to do some work around that. Um, this one today was more that I had to stop being this version of me around money that is being called into being by the direction my life is taking now. So, in the world I'm stepping into, the work I'm stepping into, the world I'm stepping into is the world. And that means like I need to expand, who I am to be able to hold a lot more people and to generate a lot more sales and to be able to bring in more money. So I had to step up my presence, because the person I have been being isn't able to do this. It's like that's not the energetic reality of this person. This is not in my field. So I have to seriously, seriously, seriously expand my field to be able to get to this place. And so I can give you an perfect example of how this works, because this is how magic works when you get there. So I worked on this shadow earlier today, and I realized, well, it's a shadow, but it's actually also the truth. I have to stop this version of myself, let that go completely. And so that I create this empty space where I can become who I am becoming. Excuse me. And then, life goes on and whatever is like, I had some grief around this. I mean, it's like, I like myself, I like myself, but hey, it's time to let go and become somebody else. And the reason I'm willing to do that, because I will not, under no circumstance, allow shadow to run my life for me. Under no circumstance. So when a shadow comes up, it's out. It's out. And I will do whatever it takes, that's called for. So yeah, if I have to let go of being me, so be it. There will be another version of me. So what happens, I get a friend request from a person, and sometime this afternoon, this person watches our live stream from yesterday, and he sends me a message. Oh, can you say a little bit about this Launch Like a Royal program you mentioned? I said, yes, this is it. I'm on a call right now, but I'll come back and give you more info. So I give a little bit more info, give him the link, and he comes back, okay, paid, I'm in. Okay? It's like, it was that easy and effortless. That when you are in the right state of being. Oh, wow, Monica. Gita, your video from yesterday had me in chills and reeling for the rest of the day. Okay, tell me more about this, Monica. Because I actually really want to, start, shake up your whole. It's like shadows are so entrenched in people, like the money shadows are so unbelievably entrenched in people. And I want to shake it up. I want to shake it out. It's like vibrate these shadows loose so that, you can alchemize them and convert them into magnetic energy. Because a lot of your energy is like stuck in, like, it's this really heavy, dense shadow energy. And when you alchemize the shadows, it's like it explodes the shadow, and all this heavy, dense energy of the shadow then becomes alchemized to like very light, very powerful magnetic energy, which is what you use to turn your desire, into manifestation and turn energy into physical matter. Because this is what we're talking about here. Okay, still processing because it's touching my old trauma stories. I realize that it has everything to do with my worth and value. Yeah, it's everything to do with your worth and value. Okay, so who you get paid for who you are. So people who own their worth and their value. Hi, Hannah. Yes, an approval shadow. Yes, that approval shadow is awful. So people who stand in their power, people who carry pure power, like not shadow power, like you see in corrupt people, and it's like, let's not go there, but it's like there are a certain kind of power that's very shadow imbued, that is like horrible, and we can all recognize it. You see it in a lot of government leaders around the world. But people who stand in the pure power, where they have owned all the power, it's like there's such an, they demand you pay attention to them. They demand your, it's like they demand that you trust them almost. It's like they captivate you. They captivate you. And they, when they speak, it's like their words, they tell truth. They speak truth. And they speak truth with absolute authority because they take full ownership of what they know. So one of the things that I often come across with my clients is that they don't own that they know what they know. It's like they have all this incredible expertise and knowledge, but somehow they minimize it, or they don't see it, or they don't take ownership of it. And this has to do with, it's like this is about taking responsibility for your expertise. And the moment you say, hey, I know this, let me tell you about this. It's like I'm doing here with these, Facebook lives and all my other lives and my posts. It's like I am speaking from, I know what I know, and I'm going to tell you about it, and it's truth because I have lived it, and my clients have lived it. So people who stand in their powerful presence, they command respect, they command your attention, and they command your trust. Not necessarily that you agree with them, but you trust in that they know what they are talking about, or that they have expertise. Whether you agree with them or not, there's something about you that trust their authority when there's no shadow around it, or not too much shadow. So the other thing I want to talk about is and I wanted to go here because presence sells. So this is about money shadows, right? And when I'm scrolling through Facebook, because I'm in like tons of coaching groups, I have like pretty much 99.9% of my Facebook friends are coaches of one kind or another, or spiritual entrepreneurs. Presence is like when you step into your full powerful presence and authority, there is no shadow there. And it's like this, the truth that radiates out of your presence, either whether you speak it or it's just in your being, that is irresistible to people because they want to be exactly like you are. So when I scroll to Facebook, it's like I see all these people offering the services, and they have no powerful presence behind it. And sometimes it's like there's so much in their shadow that I just go, yeah, maybe this is what you're doing, but nah, I'm not going to have anything. It's like, I don't believe you can help me. And it's not actually a question of whether they have mastered their technique, but they have so much shadow that I would never trust them to be able to help me or help anybody, because they have so much shadow themselves. And I remember at one point, oh God, this is years ago, I was talking with a psychologist, I can't remember, maybe looking to share an office space or something, and maybe a social worker. And I remember being shocked that this person was allowed to help other people because there was such a massive cloud of heavy gray shadow energy around this person that I was horrified that somebody had graduated him and hired him. But yeah, this is how it goes. So if you look at this powerful presence in the shadow alchemy, it's the child sovereign channel, and sovereign is another word for royalty. And if you play with this idea of, the royalty, the sovereign, the queen, it's like I like to play with this idea, and it's really working on, owning my, alchemizing up into my sovereign presence. It's like, what is a queen? What is a queen? It's like, not modern day, but, play with it like in a more mythological, base. It's like the queen is the absolute ruler of her land, right? She stands raised above others. There's a queen, there's a council, and the nobles, and then there are all the civilians. Like just like in a medieval fantasy world or whatever, in a fairy tale. And she commands. What she says is what happens. And because she knows that what she decides is what will happen, her presence is one of absolute command and absolute authority. And everybody there just falls into life. So her whole country becomes what she says it's going to be. And that presence of, royalty, the royal presence, is like so unbelievably magnetic to money, because it's not only the energy of command, it's the energy of wealth and easy money. Because the queen doesn't go out and say, "Oh, maybe it's nobody's going to hire me. What do people think about me if I do this?" She says, "No, bring me the money." No. Of course, the queen wants her whole land to be rich. Not a shadow queen, but the light queen. We're not talking about evil queens here, the good queens. So it's like the whole concept about royalty, it's like luxury, it's wealth, it is presence. And what it really is that we as human beings are made in the image of God. So it's like the saying, we are not human beings on a spiritual journey, we're spiritual beings on a human journey. And when you step completely into your full powerful presence, like your sovereign presence or your royal presence, and you step into that command, you command your whole life. Your life is your realm. Your life is your kingdom, your queendom. It's like that's when you have shed your human, and you have really stepped up into, this is what it means to be a spiritual being, because a God, a spiritual being, a God creates reality. This is what a God does, creates reality. And we have been made in the image of God, right? So we have that same ability, but it's not going to happen when you're in shadow. So the next part I wanted to say is talking more about presence. So I had this split-second experience of happen between, sleep and wake. What $1 million feels like. And I probably mentioned it yesterday. I can't remember who I say what to anymore. And the vibration of $1 million is a very, very different vibration of where I'm at now. Because I am not the person. Who I am is not somebody who resonates with $1 million as my state of being. So remember, this is all about your presence. Who you are is a different way of saying it, or your state of being. So my state of being doesn't match. It's not an energetic match for $1 million. It's not at all. It's like, I have a way to go yet. But my state of being is also not an energetic match for $1,000 a month. Okay, so I'm somewhere between $1,000 a month and $1 million a month, and closer to 1,000 a month, but not like it was before. Not like it was before. So it's like whatever you are an energetic match to is what comes to you. This is what the money, the size of your money field. And the only reason your money field is not bigger is shadows. If you alchemize more shadows, your money field gets better, it gets bigger, and your vibration starts vibrating at a higher level of wealth. So, another piece of the puzzle here, or another piece to drive this in. You're so welcome, Monica. I was at an art exhibition here in Florence, a huge art exhibition, and I was passing by the reception there was a woman standing there, and I just stopped and really noticed this woman. It's like, and I thought, something is different about this woman. There's something very, very different. And I didn't stop and stare, but I really noticed her as I slowed down and walked very slowly past her so I could try to figure out what it is. And it looked like she was talking with these people about having bought one of the paintings. And I was like, it's like her energy is so different from anybody else's, energy that I ever felt. And then it occurred to me, she is immensely rich. Okay. And it was all in her energy. It's not who she was in a person, but in her energy, which is what I mean by a state of being. It's your energy. It's your energy that makes money. Who you are, what you're an energetic match for. And for her, they had these pieces of art for, I don't know, like 20,000 euros or so. It's like, yeah, I'll buy one. No big deal. It's like, it was really pocket money for her, pocket change to like the 20,000 euros, whatever, because her field, her money field vibrated on such a high level. I have found that this matters also for myself. It's like the more I have stepped into my power presence, my sovereign presence, the more I can command money. And the more money comes easily to me. And that means, for me to get there, I've had to work my ass off with my shadows around money. It's like, no doubt about it. It's like, this is the one area in my life where, shadows. So, yes, so it's so much your presence, because as you shift your, you're moving up into your royal presence is, because you have gotten rid of shadows, like just owning your full power is what it is about. It's like, stop playing small, because it's only shadow making you play small. You all know unbelievable amounts of stuff that people are going to pay tons of money for, but shadow makes you, your presence small. So when you expand your presence, right, that's when you can start really bringing in the money. You can charge more for your services. You're going to draw in the ideal clients instead of like sort of half ideal clients who can't really afford you, but So that was a lot of things to get off my chest here. Okay, so any questions? Okay, Emily, you say your question for today is being a know-it-all. Don't be a know-it-all. Which shadow is this and how to unravel it? So what happens is like, this is not really a thing about shadow alchemy, but the money shadow is like this, like, who do you think you are pretending to know it all? Who am I to think that I know enough to help other people? Hey, says Donna. So awesome. Yes. Donna is a know-it-all, like you wouldn't believe it. Now she just has to get paid for it. And once she starts opening up to this, people are going to throw money at her feet, like you wouldn't believe it, because Donna carries this royal presence, and it's time to stop hiding it. Donna has been my one-on-one client for a while, so I know her very well. Yes, so the know-it-all. So what it really is like fear of people's judgment. What if I, own that I know what I know and start selling it for its real value? People are going to judge me, right? Don't, if I say, this is what I know, and I know all these things. And yeah, so some people are going to have a problem with it, but the truth probably is that you do know it all, right? So own that you know it all, and then start selling it, right? Other people's approval, they're not going to approve of you if you say, hey, I know this, and then you say, I know this too, and then I know this too, and people are not going to approve of you, so you'll be rejected and end up all alone and lonely and miserable. Right? This is what we talked about yesterday, is a prostitute, which is all about getting approval. And you would rather where you will sell your soul in order to make sure that you have somebody's approval. Whereas when you really step up into your full royalty presence, it's like a queen, she commands. She doesn't really care whether people approves of her or not. This is not what her life is about. Her life is about like commanding her reality. Own that you know it all, Emily. Yeah. Yep. If you have ever been told about being humble, it's like the gratitude. Soul crushing. No, stand tall in the fact that you know it all. If you do know it all, own it and be proud of it and stand tall in it. It's like, do you want to pay somebody who is hiding her expertise and somebody who's like put on this false pretense of humility? Because in your case, it's somebody had taught you to be humble. So it's actually not true that you're humble. It's like false humbleness. So why should I pay you? You're all fake. It's like you don't own what you own. You don't own that you know it all. And then the fact that you're really, really, really serious, loving that you are a know-it-all person, but then hiding it under this false humbleness. No, I wouldn't trust you. I wouldn't give you this money. Alexandra, something just clicked. I have always been acting humble, worried that people think I'm a know-it-all, got bullied in school for being a good student. There you have it. You are a know-it-all. Alexandra, you know a ton of stuff. Yep, you are know-it-alls. You are super intelligent. You know a lot. And, if Emily, if you're like Alexandra, she has a very lot of, like just information that I would never be able to retain in my brain because I don't care to do it. It's like, yeah, you know it all. So awesome. Like all these things that you know, this is what you're going to build your business on. And all that knowledge has tremendous value, but you have to step up into your royal presence, to be able to really create the business around it, because it's the same energy. The royal presence is also the energy of a CEO. Okay, so it's the CEO of your business. Hannah, I didn't see the other question. Can it also come from? Yeah, I have been a know-it-all toward everyone else's success and have not gotten that level of success. So I don't understand this question. You are a know-it-all toward everybody else's success. When you coach your clients, you mean you can really see what they know, but you haven't gotten to see that you know what you know. I don't quite understand your question, Hannah. Can you ask in a different way? Emily, bingo, you got it. Hannah, you have to ask this question in a different way. So where were we yesterday? Andreas asked, I will have to do things I don't want to do to make money. Like what? And so what? So like today, like one of the things I had to do when I shared my story. Yeah, I don't particularly like to stop being me, but I will do it if that's what's going to get me more out of shadow. There's no way I'm going to let shadow stop me. And I will do whatever it takes to get me out of shadow. And for me, as I say, it's always about money, but it doesn't have to be about money for everybody. Donna, I always felt wrong about things, so I came to the conclusion that everyone around me knew something I didn't. As it turns out, they were the ones who knew what they didn't. Yep. Donna, you're a total know-it-all. Oh, Hannah, you are just meant toward their success, and your judgment make you feel like you know better. Yeah, Alexandra, stepping into your authority is a missing piece. Okay, so your judgments towards the other, it's like now I'm actually stepping into out of shadow alchemy and stepping into codependence work a little bit. So low self-esteem is not a pleasant place to be. So one of the ways to feel an increased sense of self-esteem is by judging others so they become less than you. This is what you see with like all these trash papers and trash magazines and trash newspapers. Like when I was living in Iceland, there was this one newspaper who would always put somebody in, like, say a horrible story about somebody, and the reason they sold, you know, that was a popular because they made sure that somebody was always feeling worse, was always at a worse place than you or worse person than you. So they could always make you feel better while you were reading this newspaper. So this is called, a false sense of self-esteem, or it's called other esteem, because you base your self-esteem on something outside yourself, which is in this case, if you can put other people below you, you judgment, when you judge them, you raise above them. So it means you feel better, when what is really true is that you don't really have any self-worth and self-value. So Hannah, this is all the prostitute. And what is really true here is that you decide your own value, completely separate from anybody else's life, completely different from anybody else's life. You get to decide what you're worth, what your information is worth, and you get to decide also how much success you want in your life and what that looks like. Your choice, your power, which is which is why you want to step into the royal presence, because a queen, makes her decision based on what she believes is best. It's like these are her desires, and I realize, I'm taking this metaphor, stretching it a little bit further than it can go, because obviously if it was a real situation with a queen and a country, she would want everybody to be happy. But she decides what her land looks like. She decides her value. She decides how much, money she wants in taxes from her underlings, whatever, citizens. Yeah, authority is not judgments. Authority, Emily is saying, it means tell them they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. That's a very shadow, know it all. No, authority means that I know what I know, and I stand in my full power, and I stand by my knowledge, and I stand by myself, and I stand by my value, and I will not give it up for anybody's approval. So that when I speak, there is an authority in it, but it's all innate because it's nothing to do with anybody else. Yeah, authority versus judgment. So there is this thing about judgment, right? It's like it has a bad reputation, but we do it all the time. If you think about it, it's like judgments is really just observing facts and then putting a meaning to the facts. So it's like an evaluation. So we have all been so terrified of judging other people that we deny the facts that we are observing, because observing those facts about other people would mean we are judging them. And we should be judging them. We should be judging them. And maybe you should be judging them, Emily, depending on what it is. I mean, if they don't know about your shadows, sure, the judgment is based on your observation that, hey, these people are in shadow, they don't know what they're talking about, I'm going to tell them about it, which is exactly what I'm doing with this live stream. Okay, money has power over me, says Andrea. So this is a very, very, very common one. So if I have a lot of money, money will have more power over my life than I do. Okay? We all fear that bringing more money in means losing your freedom in some way. This is what my shadow earlier today really was about, right? It's like, so if I bring more money in, it has the power to change who I am. It has the power to stop who I am. Yeah. So, and in my case, it's truth, because this was about expanding my field and, up leveling to be an energetic match for more. But, in other cases, it's about uh, not realizing that you decide how money shows up in your life. And you decide what money gets to do in your life. Right? It's like, I hear this over and over and over again. It's like, I'm afraid that if I have a lot of money, I'm going to lose my freedom. And, my crazy one from a year ago, I'm afraid if I have a lot of money and I get rich and wealthy, I will have to wear makeup and wear high heel shoes and love art. I was like, I get to decide that. That has nothing to do with money, right? But in my shadow was saying, this is what has to happen if I make a lot of money. And the thing about shadow, it always feels true, even if it's always a lie. So the truth is that, yeah, so maybe if I get a lot of money, it will change me so that I will want to wear makeup and put on high heel shoes and love art. It hasn't happened yet, so maybe I need to make more money to get there. And I get to decide. It's like my choice. Money doesn't get to have power over my life. I do. Yeah, what's wrong with that, Kathleen? Exactly. At the moment, it's not my thing. So it was like a terrifying thought. Oh my God, if I make a lot of money, I have to wear makeup all the time and wear high heel shoes all the time and love art. And when I say art, because I live in Florence, which is like all the Renaissance paintings and all these like the old masters oil paintings, which is absolutely not my style. Okay, so Hilda says it doesn't matter if I work hard enough, I will not get much money from it anyway. So I might as well not even try, right? So, so this means giving up before you even try. And what it is about is like you take everything from the past and project it into the future. But what you have to realize is, if you have been doing shadow alchemy up levels your energy all the time. Okay, Melody, let me get back to this. So the more shadows you alchemize, the higher vibration your energy becomes. The more you're in your royal presence, the more you're in energetic match for higher prices and more money. So when you have this belief that just because it happened this way in the past, it's going to happen in the future also, what you take out of the equation is that the situation might look the same, but the energy is completely different. The energy is completely different. And you know this, right? Because when you step totally into your royal presence, it's like sell a painting, sell a painting, sell a painting, sell a painting, sell a painting. It was so easy for you. It was so easy for you to sell paintings when you stepped into your royal presence. And then that brought up a whole lot of shadows, like, oh my God, am I allowed to have it so easy to make, this amount of easy money? And what does it mean? Maybe you have to wear high heels too if you sell this many paintings, Who knows? It's like there's this fear of what having a lot of money will mean to you. And actually, I'm going to make another post in my Facebook group asking you about, your shadows about being wealthy. What would it mean if you suddenly had a lot of money, or if you allowed yourself to have a lot of money? What fears, what crazy thoughts comes up about that? And Hulda also says, it doesn't matter if I work hard enough, I will not get much money from it anyway. Yeah. What you're really saying, I don't have the power to make money. And this is sort of a topic for tomorrow. But at the root of all of this about the money shadow is that you don't own that you have all the power in the world to make money. So going back to the 90s, my teacher then, he said, when I came, oh my God, I can't make any money. I don't know how to make money. Even if I'd done it before, right? He would just look at me and say, this is bullshit, get it? You know exactly how to make money. I go, oh no, 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 I don't know, poor me, woe me. I said, I don't even want to listen to it. You know exactly how to make money. And it was true. I did, because then I would like flip into that state of being where money is just as easy as breathing. I still have to work and still have to do some promotion, but it was like so effortless because it gave results. Because when I flipped into that state of being, I became so magnetic and I stopped resisting it. It's like all my shadow reasons for money, they were out of commission for a while. So I couldn't keep it that way, right? But I always knew there is a state of being you can get to where money is not a struggle. And it's not only about money, because it's a state of being where you have no worries, you have no fear, you have no anxiety, you know exactly what to do, you enjoy life all the time, you're always present in the moment, life is wonderful, and it's like everything is right with your world. And money just comes easy, right? So I always knew this was it. Okay, melody. A shadow I have is money determines my worth value. So irritating, logical. I know it's not true, but the shadow hasn't died yet. Okay, so as you know, you definitely have to disconnect it. And who would you be without money? This is really what you need to look at. It's like that's a shadow. The shadow says, I'm afraid that I don't have any value, meaning I'm afraid that people won't approve of me if I don't have any money. Right? So you go the whole trail down. It's like, so what if I don't have any money? Then what? Then what? Then what? And you realized, well, actually, it doesn't matter if people approve of me or not, because I'm going to stand by myself and I need to approve of me. So shadow is always, what are other people going to think about me? I need other people's approval. So Melody says, and I feel less than when a good friends make more money than me. It's such an icky shadow. Yes. And that one is a child. Okay, we're back in the child sovereign channel. And this is actually a great place to end it. The comparisonitis, right? You compare yourself to other people and they have more than you. They have what you want to have for yourself. That's why it makes you feel bad. And underneath that is the sense, it is not fair that they have what I want and I don't have it. You see that? It is not fair that they have what I want and I don't have it. So this is a child with the sense of entitlement. I should have something for nothing. This is how a child thinks. And the whole thing about fair. So with the sovereign, it's like, it doesn't matter what other people have or don't have. It's like other people's lives has no bearing on me and my life, because I'm going to stand in my truth and I'm going to live my truth. And I take full responsibility for creating the life I want to have, and I'll do whatever it takes. And then you're right back there in your own space and in your own authority again, which is the place you create your own life from. Not like, oh, woe me, poor me, somebody has what I want. And also in this melody is also probably a sense of feeling powerless to get what you want, to create that for yourself. And that's also shadow. Okay, so I think this is a great place to stop. Let me just see what else is up here.